Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Net Report podcast, Finals Edition, Game 2. We have another very exciting conclusion to the game, Chris.
Yeah,
Celtics are up 2-0. They defended home court. I'm so proud of my boys.
yeah. Boston Celtics take a 2-0 lead on the Dallas Mavericks, and this series, honestly, despite Dallas kind of fighting back a little bit towards the end, it hasn't really felt close. Boston has completely dominated almost all facets of the game. Dallas has really struggled to get any momentum or any type of help from guys not named Luka Doncic, and we're just gonna get into it. I mean, I asked you last game what you saw right off the bat. What'd you see in this game? Because there's a whole lot to get into.
There is. I'll push back a little bit. I do think that this game was close
Mm,
for about 2.5 segments of the game. The first half was close, but even from the eye test, you could tell Boston should be up by a lot more. But the fact
mm,
that the Celtics had only shot 19% from three in the first half, and Luca had like 20 some odd points in the first half, and Tatum and Brown weren't really getting it going. It was like the Celtics are in a comfortable spot. Like, despite all this, and they were up by 3 or 5 at halftime. It's like, oh, the Mavs, like, and it wasn't like everyone else in the Mavs was playing good. It was pretty much just Luca. I mean,
mm.
um, and then we saw it to a larger extent. I mean, okay, Kyrie had a good first half as well, but it felt like as the third and fourth quarter came along, all these pregame reports we heard about Doncic being injured and all these things, they showed a little bit more as the game went on. Luca was just uh, less effective as a scorer as the game went on. You could tell he was labored and tired. The Celtics continued to go at him defensively, and like you said, it's it's the Luka show for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I mean, I I want to say I said in game after our game one preview that I was either expecting or wanted to see more Jaden Hardy minutes. Two, we saw two, and it felt like for pieces. This isn't my. I didn't create this analysis. I saw someone point this out on Twitter. It felt like for the third and fourth quarter specifically, it felt like Jason Kidd was just throwing guys out there and seeing like, let's see what
Seeing what
works.
work. You
He
saw
threw out
Exum get out there,
a
which I
lot of
wasn't
weird
expecting.
minutes. I mean, he was fine. He got them a couple buckets, but
Yeah,
I just like it. I don't know. Derek Lively once again just looked like a rookie, like to the worst degree possible. I don't
mm,
know what has happened between the other playoff series and this series, but the
it's just a
lights look
better
way too
defense,
bright for
man.
Derek
It's just,
Lively. Like Lively looks awful. Like he's just doing dumb fouling. He's just very stupid, dumb stuff from him. Kleba is very ineffective, which shouldn't be too shocking. Um, Washington's doing fine, but for second game in a row, Kyrie has all but no showed. I mean, there's everyone's gonna harp on Tatum no showed, Tatum no showed. Tatum was a board off of a triple double. Kyrie was just straight up ineffective. There's a
mm,
difference. Tatum was missing his shots. Kyrie was getting bodied by just randoms, Pritchard and Hauser again.
And if you
Like
look in that third quarter too, it's just insane how like in fourth quarter too, absolutely bodied, and it looked like at times he was afraid to shoot. I remember one possession in particular where like there was kind of 5 left in the shot clock, and he was just getting absolutely bodied. I don't remember who by, but he ended up like pump faking, looked like he was gonna shoot, had a little bit of room, and passed it out, and it was just.
kicked it out.
It's just there was a lot of that in the third quarter, especially, and it
We're
was
used to Kyrie kind of making those crazy trick shots, but it just felt like even with these guys who aren't necessarily defined by defensive prowess, but with Pritchard and Hauser, they were holding their own, which credit to them. Like they're playing. It's not like Kyrie's doing bad necessarily. They're just playing good defense, but he should be still good enough to score on them. Like what are we talking about here? And I think it was 8 turnovers. Yeah,
For
8
Luca,
turnovers by
yep.
Doncic. Yeah, it's like and he was passing the ball better. He got a triple double
Mm,
himself, but still, as a whole, the Mavs I think had 21 assists. 10 or 11 of them came from Luca. And a lot of those were just everyone was swarming him, so he just kicked it out. And
mm-hmm.
he made some beautiful passes. Don't get me wrong. There was one insane pass. I
To
think it was to
to
Kleba.
Exum, yeah,
Um,
just beautiful
Excellent. I'm
chef's
sorry.
kiss.
You're right. That's right. It was in that third quarter. He made a beautiful behind the back. Like I don't know how he saw him, but
Mm-hmm.
just I mean and we'll get into the Celtics, but I really want to focus on the Mavs here. It's like the Mavericks lost a game. The Celtics shot terribly. The
Mm-hmm.
Mavs also shot terribly. But you can't lose a game when this high volume Celtics 3-point shooting team shoots 20 some odd percent from three.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose that game.
And
Like
that's I think.
these are the games that they lost in their other series. This is the game the Cavs took from them. This is the game the Heat took from them. You lose this game, it's like what uh, what are you gonna do? Like I
No, I got you. And I think that's the biggest thing too for the Celtics team. Like, you're up 2-0. You shot, what was it? Was it 23% from three? I don't remember the exact number.
23 or
But
25.
you shot 20 whatever percent from three. Jason Tatum once again, I think you said 6 for 21, right? And it
I didn't say
was
his shooting percentage, but it wasn't great.
mhm
He was missing. That's well. I'll table what you were saying for a second. The Celtics shooting percentage was terrible, but they were shooting the shots they shouldn't be shooting. Like these were the shots that they should be taking. They weren't taking bad. Like there was a couple Tatum mid ranges that I'm like, don't take that, and he took it, and I'm just like, if you're not cooking, why are you hitting that?
mhm
But for the most part, the shots the Celtics were taking from three, they were the right reads. They were open shots or semi-open shots. They just weren't falling tonight, and that happens. Like you're gonna have off shooting nights. It's just crazy that they won that game, and a lot of it has to do with their defense. And the other part of that, like you were saying with Tatum, he was an incredible passer. He was doing what Luka was doing to the similar extent. He and Brown were driving into the paint, and when they inevitably got swarmed, they passed out. In Tatum's case, he was feeding Drew Holiday for days. He fed families with the amount of assists he gave to Drew Holiday. But I think in total, he and Brown, Tatum and Brown, had like 20 assists combined. It was crazy how well they were both doing. That's huge for Brown specifically to develop as a passer. But this was weirdly the Derek White and Drew Holiday game. Porzingis looked like he got hurt late in the game. All signs seem to say that he's fine. We'll
I mean,
see.
he said he'll die on the court if he has to, so I'm gonna go on a limb and say he'll be all right.
I'm I really would prefer he start. I don't know if it's just me. Like I really we seem to be much more exposed defensively when Al's out there than when Porzingis is out there, but I get it. You want to limit both their minutes and fine, you're up 2-0 and it's working. That's just me personally. Um, but like I don't know what you do as the Mavs. I still expect Kyrie to show up for a game. Luca, we'll see what he's gonna look like going forward, like health wise. He's gonna have a couple days off here, but I mean, outside of him dropping 50, it's not gonna matter if the rest of these guys don't show up. Like Kyrie's
Mhm.
gonna help you give a game. But unless Kyrie or Luca drops 50, like um, someone's got to show up. And I mean, the weird part for how this game played out was because they both shot terribly. It really came down to like, it's weird to say this free throw percentage. Like the Celtics hit all their free throws and the Mavs missed, I feel like half of them. It was like a lot of them happened in the first quarter. And as time went on, it's like, what's going on here? Like they just
Mhm.
kept missing them and missing them. And then they had a little run there in the last couple minutes of the game, and then White was just like, "Yep," and blocked that shot, and that was
That
game.
was an
It
insane.
was
I
game.
really thought they were coming back too, and it was getting
Don't
scary.
worry, as a
But
fan, I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?"
mhm,
And then PJ Washington goes up for that layup, and Derek White said, "Nope." I'm
yeah,
like, "I love you, Derek White. I'm gonna build you a statue."
statue in front of front of TD Garden. But like you said, I mean, we were talking a lot about Dallas. I think for Boston too. Like, you're up 2-0. You shot
They haven't even
horribly
played
from
remotely good
three. You
basketball.
haven't really got a good Tatum game. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. The playmaking, phenomenal. Defense is great. Like, I know everyone's going to clown him and be like, not being the allegations. He's not even, it's, especially now with like Jason Kidd's comments. Oh, it's Jalen Brown's team. Like, who cares? You're winning a championship.
There's
But, it is
At
like,
the end of the day, we just count rings and banners. We don't really count
I
performances.
mean, 20
Doesn't
years from
matter.
now, no one's going to remember, well, Tatum had that one really bad game too. Like, no, if they win the ring, they'll be fine.
Us
Like,
experts remember Curry being not the best in 2015, but he's
still
like
has,
we still know
we
he
still
still
are
won the
like, he has
goddamn
four
ring, so who
rings. Like,
cares? Like
it's
who
like,
cares?
but, for Boston, it's just like, wow, you're still ahead 2-0. And it really makes me feel like, wow, this really is like, feels lopsided. I don't have a lot of hope in the Mavs really making this a super competitive series just because, like, Boston didn't shoot well from three in game two. They haven't had a Tatum game. That depth is just incredible. Like, you're going all the way down, like, their 8-man rotation. Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard's probably their worst, like, actual, like, rotation guy, but like Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser are
I
so
will
much better
fight
than
you on
Josh.
that one.
Who would you say is the Celtics worst? Like,
Richard Overhauser
Pritchard over Hauser. I don't know if I mean I guess, but like, okay, let's say Hauser then, right? Because this just
for the
helps my point even
playmaking,
more.
for the because he can listen. I don't know if you know this, but Peyton Pritchard is like weirdly one of the greatest offensive rebounding guards. It's so
Okay,
insane and
okay,
weird.
but let me get back to my point though. So you have Sam Hauser, who's been like really effective, great shooter. He's hit some timely shots. He struggled a little bit in game two,
He's
but in game one, he was hitting
yeah,
shots. He's been way
hit two
more
or three.
effective in
Yeah,
this series than a Maxi Kleba, than a Josh Green, than a even like honestly, like, it feels weird to say, but Derek Lively struggled throughout this series. Like, you haven't seen much or any of Tim Hardaway Jr., Jaden Hart. Like, he's been effective than all those guys.
you haven't seen him at all.
So like, it's it's kind of crazy to think about because that's the Celtics' eighth man, and that's kind of what they've been knocked on for their depth. And Dallas just doesn't have anyone who's a difference maker outside of like Luka. I mean, you'll get the occasional Kyrie shot. PJ Washington done some nice things, but it's just tough, man. Like, outside of those guys, you're not getting much of anything.
No, I mean nothing at all. To be very honest with you, I think what it highlights the most is the disparity in talent. Um, and I think in one of our previous podcasts, I called what the Magic are on, or what the Mavs are on is like on a magical kind of like run here.
hmm
And I don't know if I fully broke down why I thought that. It's like, yeah, they're not the best team in the West. Like, I don't even think they were the top two best team in the West. But they made it here, so they deserve to be here. Like, I'm not saying they don't deserve to be here, but they weren't the best team in the West
I think
by any
matchups
means. Like
played a
that,
big factor, and
they did.
this is
Because
one of
everyone
those weird
online is
years.
saying, "Oh, well, this Celtics team wouldn't beat Denver." Well, Denver didn't get here, but Denver was probably the best team for the Celtics to have played because they matched up well against them, and the depth would have been tested more. But that's not how it always works. I mean, sometimes that's how a cookie crumbles. You play who's in front of you, and but I think that's what the Mavs are running into here is that they got a good little magical run. They kind of matchups and favored them, but now they're facing the big leagues. Like these are the big dogs. Like this was the favorite all year, and not to be mean, but Jason Kidd's just getting out coached, left it like he's just being straight up out
And
coached.
to be fair, I don't
Um,
want to blame too much of it on him because, like you said earlier, it feels like he's scrambling to figure out something because he just doesn't have the personnel. And I don't hold that to him as much,
I mean,
but
yes and no, but second straight game of not really any real Jaden Hardy minutes. I'm like,
listen, man, I don't think Jaden Hardy's helping much of anything. I know you really like what you
but
saw from him in game one, but it's not gonna make a difference, man. Especially with those
but
Kyrie Luca
we're throwing
lineups, it's
Dante
tough.
Exum out there over him, like, and we're just straight
Exum
up
can at least
DMPing Tim
defend.
Hardaway Jr.
Exum can at least
Like,
defend, man. Like, there's not a
and
lot
at
of
some point,
options, man. There's not a lot of
I
options.
get that, but it just I get that, but like it just feels weird. And the what was it? The he called a challenge in the first quarter, and I was like, why? Like, really? I don't know. It, I agree. Part of it is, excuse me, part of it he's working with what he has, but he is also just getting straight up outcoached. Like
Hmm.
it's insane. I expect the Mavs to win Game 3. Obviously, if they don't,
Series over.
series is over. Series is over. I'll call it. Like I still think series is over. I've been confident in this series the entire time. I always thought, regardless of what media said, I always thought the Celtics had this in the bag. Like it would have taken a generational series from Luca, like 45 a night type performance from him because yeah, like Tatum and Brown aren't performing to their NBA, all NBA level that we've seen them, and they're winning. Like
Hmm.
Drew Holiday showed up big time in Game 2. Porzingis showed up big time in Game 1. Like
You gonna
your
have one of
two
those guys
actual
step
All
up every
Stars
game.
haven't showed up yet.
Hmm.
Like it's over. Like
But hey, I mean that's just the way it goes sometimes. The stack team wins, and that's the way it is. But shout out Luke and the Mavs for. Let me not. I'm being so disrespectful there. I mean, there's game three can turn things around, but who knows? By the time this is done, if it ends in a 4-0 sweep or 4-1, we can really be
oh
thinking
my
of
god,
despite everything. It's one of those series where you're like, man, Luca had a great series, but there wasn't help. You think of AI in Philly, you think of LeBron with Cleveland. It can end up
I'm
like
trying
one
to
of
think
those.
like. We were all like during these playoffs, we're like, wow, what a match made in heaven. Like this is really working with Kyrie and Luca. They get swept. What's the fallout?
No fallout, none at all. Just because
You don't think
you,
so? You don't think they
no,
overreact?
because they overachieved to get here. Let's be realistic and let's pause for a minute. They did overachieve to get here. It'd be retooling of the roster, but like Kyrie and Luca are still gonna be here. PJ Washington's gonna be there. Derek Lively's the rookie. He's gonna stay around. Like Gafford, there's nothing really. I think they might be losing one of their best opportunities for a championship because the West is going to get more tough, and I don't know if they get as favorable matchups. Not saying that their road was easy, but we just talked about how matchups played a huge factor. So in that sense,
Yeah, I
yes,
mean,
but there's
I
no
don't,
fallout.
it's, okay. I mean, I partially agree with you. I was just curious where your head's at.
Hmm.
Um, okay. I mean, banner 8 teams coming home.
Man, you better not.
I'm
Old takes
pumped.
exposed. Come get this man if in a week or so. If you know.
All right. I'll say this right now. I've said the contrary in previous podcasts that I don't think there will be personal fallout for the Celtics if they lost. If we lose up 2-0 like this, there will be fallout. It'll be insane
Generational fallout.
because like we've been saying this entire podcast, the talent gap is so clear. I didn't even talk about how effective KP was because he didn't really play a lot, but that give him the ball in the paint or anywhere in the in front of the 3-point arc, it's money. Like he's just daggers. It's so crazy. He gets the mismatch. He had, I think it was either Kleba or Gafford on him. He just shot right over him. It was, and even still, I thought, man, he's not going to be as effective defensively. He comes right into the game, blocking shots left and right. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like
It's been insane. I didn't expect this from him, especially early in his career, and like even I feel like in Dallas we didn't see this from him, and it's fun to see ever since his
it's all
transformation
about the
since
system.
Washington. I mean, even in Washington he was
System.
great, but man, in Boston just maximizes his talents.
Because he doesn't have to do everything offensively. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. He can hit the middies when he gets his mismatch. He can shoot the three when he's open, when it circles back around him, and he can dunk over everyone if he needs to. And on defense, he's living his best life.
Hmm.
I'm so happy right now.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up there though. Boston Celtics up 2-0. Let us know in the comments section down below if you think Dallas can make it interesting, maybe win games 3 and 4, and what you're thinking of the series so far. Is Jason Tatum going to win Finals MVP? The answer is probably
No.
not, but come on. He drops a 30 bomb, it's still possible. I mean, he's still the betting favorite per most betting sites, so we'll
Who's
leave that
yours?
there. Huh?
Who's yours?
Um if I had to bet right now,
Yeah, I'm not
I'd
even betting. Like
say,
who like not who you think's gonna
are
win
we
it.
talking
Who's
right
your
now?
final?
Right now?
Yeah, who's your Finals
It's
MVP
Jalen
right
Brown
now?
right now. Right now. It is Jalen Brown, but it's close. Like, you can make an argument for Drew Holiday. You could even make one, like, I don't really think you can make one for Tatum. Like, you could, I guess, but like not over Brown right now. But like I said, give it five. If the series ends in five, let's say, right, and he has a 30 bomb or 230 bombs, he's gonna win Finals MVP
I think
probably.
recency bias will play a lot of it if
Mm.
Tatum shows up for games 3, 4, or 5. Even if
Which
he
we've
shows up for
seen
one of
a
them,
lot in Finals MVP discourse. Recency
yeah,
bias
you
is
just got
always a drug.
if you show up the last 2 games, it's like, oh wait, yeah, of course they're the best player.
Hmm.
It's like, and okay, I mess with it. I'll even allow you to not be ostracized for not saying our Lord and Savior Derek White, but it's
He's
okay.
not. Come on, he's. I no disrespect to Derek White, but he can be playing better. He needs to be hitting a little bit more. He needs to be shooting better from three, but he's still great. Don't get me wrong, but come on, Drew Holiday's been better. Jalen Brown's been better. Let's chill. Let's chill. I like Derek White, but let's chill.
Peyton Pritchard gets it for hitting the half
That
court
yeah, exactly. I
buzzer
mean,
beater.
he did his best Jerry West impression, so sure, why not? But as always, thank you for
Peyton Pritchard
tuning.
officially has more finals points than Joel Embiid.
Crazy development. But as always, thank you for tuning in. Let us know what you think of the. Oh my goodness. Let us know what you think of the NBA Finals in the comment section down below. Celtics in 6? Nah, Mavs in 7. Have a good one.